All I wanna do is see the prophets. Jesus, Benjamin Franklin, Muhammad. Boy, I got that gator skin graveyard wallet full of their presidents. Peace be upon them.
Shah's born and raised Toronto boy, a Toronto hustler who was blessed to find Atlanta at the end of 2016. 2017, Atlanta sort of, launched my career.
This is money over strippers, picking up paper class with it.
The song Just Text sort of went off in the strip clubs in Atlanta, and then I saw the impact of that, starting with Magic City, and then my DJ Swamp Izzo, and then from there on out. And then once you've got something going in Atlanta as a rapper, the world starts to open up to you. So that's why I say, God bless Atlanta. So I grew up in Parkdale, which at the time that I was growing up was sort of the Toronto hood. Like in Toronto, how it works is most of the real hoods where shit's popping is like outside of the city. So there's like, there's two places, there's Regent Park and then there was Parkdale. Parkdale now, sadly, heartbreaking, gentrified, all that. But when I was growing up, it was like, that was the streets. And then the people that I grew up with didn't have the luxury of like two loving, caring parents in the home and a family that just cared about them all the way. Now, I don't have a big family. I ain't grew up with no cousins or none of that. And I'm kind of like envious of people who had that giant ass, family. But my family is probably my biggest blessing in life. I spent too long in school. I should have dropped out the moment I realized that, hey, I've got something. I've got something special. That moment, whatever it was, maybe 9th grade, 10th grade, I should have just dropped it and done my thing, and I would have got here a lot sooner. I probably would have gotten a lot more trouble along the way, but whatever. But when I did finally make the realization, like, all right, this is what it is, I get the question, like, what did your parents say? What did your, and then it's like, I broke it down. I'm like, well, listen, this is just what it is for me. This is my path. And then, the reaction was, they're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Like, all right, go get it. Go get it. So I was very blessed in that, from that respect. And then on the other side, the area I grew up in, it wasn't like, we didn't have the advantages that other places do. It's definitely not, it's definitely still safer, and Canada's a whole different country where a lot of privilege is built into just life. But it was, it wasn't necessarily easy. So a lot of things I had to figure out for myself. Being a brown boy from Toronto, like a Muslim family, you don't have those role models of success outside of the very narrow academic lane, right? So you do have that, you do have people who do live a life of they got a house and a family and blah blah blah, but something that's more inspirational, there's no one to look at and be like, oh yo, he did it. So growing up, the role models were people from Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, people from 50 years ago. Starting off, Pac was the role model. So like I said, the role models I had as a kid was my dad, my mom, Malcolm, Tupac, and Muhammad Ali. So Tupac was definitely the outside of my parents, it was the only modern day inspiration, and probably still is inspirationally the artist for me. I realize now in the North, you don't have this appreciation, or you don't have this part of your brain that just appreciates the vibe or the sound, or sort of, I don't know, the subtleties of music that Atlanta has, where it's you can talk about your pain, but you don't sound like some little bitch crying about complaining or whatever. It's you hear Derez Deshawn talking about what's going on in his life, and you feel that, right? So now I can say this broadly, Lucci, Derez, this Atlanta street music really speaks to me and inspires me. Before I got to Atlanta, I didn't have melody in my music. One, because I couldn't I didn't have it. But two, it was also like, well, that's some bitch ass shit. Why am I gonna be singing? I'm not a singer, I'm a rapper. But then you get here, it's like no, this shit is fucking dope. This is what fucking shit is right here. Okay, I can do this too. What? So I've always had like a connection there, and I've always wanted to do something musically, but it had to be, you know, real. And then it came about with Telemundo.
Learn español pa' buscarme los cuartos.
¿Cómo? What?
Ahora los tenis y me estoy buscando.
Ahora.
Running this como me pile punto. Fucking get bitches que mantiene
The shit went off, and it was the first time that anything of mine ever went viral. It was the first time something that without the energy of working something, like at the beginning of the interview I said, I'm someone who achieves success by working. This was the first time that something happened without me needing to bust my ass. It just happened. And I think it was because Dominicans, like, the reason that they wild out in the video that you're talking about, the reason that they go ape shit is because I'm not just rapping Spanish, but I'm rapping real gutter Dominican slang.
You have a racially ambiguous look, you know.
Yep.
They don't know whether you're Hispanic, are you Middle Eastern, are you part black, you know what I mean? So from a marketing standpoint, that could be the greatest fucking thing in the world.
Big picture, hell yes.
Yes. So look, so I said all that to ask you this: how important is it for you to have a universal appeal across the world in different markets, or is that important?
That is not something that matters to me inherently, right? Inherently what matters to me, and this is sort of, I don't even know if this is doing me any good, but inherently what matters to me is like, I guess if it was a few years ago, you would say hip hop, right? Or if it was like 10 years ago, you would say like, what matters to me is like, yeah, hip hop, right? Now, when you say hip hop, it sounds like Joe Budden and like, so fuck all that shit. Like, I don't care about that. But like, I guess what matters to me is the people that have embraced me, and that means the streets. It's like I'm not even from Atlanta, let alone the streets of Atlanta, but that was who embraced me first. So it is sort of like the streets, and then beyond that, it is black culture that's embraced me and that's responsible for my wave. So that's what matters to me. That's who matters to me, right? Now, I'm a brown boy, so that's my people. My people is like the Desi community, the South Asian diaspora, right? And now, also starting in Atlanta, that wave has started as well. So I have gotten that love. Like there's a couple publications out there, a couple of Desi publications. I think Anoki and Music Mandir in India that called me one of the top 10 brown rappers, right? So now that wave has started as well. The order is continue to spread from Atlanta and the Southeast that I have right now and the internet, so that, you know, complete the process of Shah's like a national household name. Shah's a superstar here, right? Canada, thankfully, as your star rises in America, it's automatic, so I don't need to do any extra work there. But then as that happens in Europe, you know, it's already started, that goes, India will happen naturally, and now we're talking about 2 more billion people, and then Latin America. So let's see, like, that'll happen as well. So now I've gotten, you know, the majority of the world. So that will be my biggest blessing. That will be what lets me transcend into the type of star that maybe has never been seen before. And it is a big blessing. Just at this moment, it hasn't been something that has been a driving force. And maybe that's also a blessing in that what it's meant is that I haven't forced anything.
It'll be more organic.
Exactly.
Here we go.
Why you calling? Just text me. Text. Time and money, not expensive. You and me, we're not best friends. I was in one of them little holding cells, coming over from Montreal to ultimately getting to Atlanta. I think the flight was Toronto to New York by way of Montreal or something like that. And I'd been put in one of these little
holding cell joints made all out of steel before. And it's like, well, what did I do wrong? It's like, oh, well, I forget what the words are. But basically, we don't need to tell you, right? Or we can detain you at our discretion is the words, right? And it happened once, whatever. Figured my way out. Lawyered up, thankfully. Lawyered up, and this is a very, it was a brilliant lawyer, told me what to do for the next time. And then if it happened, and then it did, now this is a much bigger sort of lockdown. So then in this lockdown, you're not supposed to have your phone on. You're supposed to whatever. I had it. So then I'm texting the lawyer like, yo, what do I do? Like, please help me quarterback the play. I missed my flight. My people in New York like start hitting me up. Yo, where you at? So they're calling, and the calls keep fucking up my texts, right? Shit pops up, buzz, whatever the sound. It's like, yo, y'all gonna bait me out? Like, so it's like, yo, stop calling, just text me, just text. No matter what the circumstances are that you find yourself in, especially when something negative happens to you, try to find the way in. And you can find the takeaway there that is going to leave you in a more positive place moving forward. So usually that'll be some lesson that you've learned. It'll be some behavior of your own that you can correct. Or if you're not in the wrong at all, then it's some game that you can learn. And for me, the positive thing in that moment was like, why are you calling just text? Stop calling just text. Oh wait, this is relatable. I've got something here. This is gonna be a hook. So then that's what ended up happening. I got to Atlanta, bang, bang, bang. And then it then Atlanta giving me sort of melody and Atlanta giving me like appreciation for fun. The song went in a direction that was, when you just hear it casually, it just sounds like some turn up shit, right? And then that did me good in that it got the song going. But I think that if I had embraced the darkness of that moment, that also could have done me good on some like Dres Deschamps.
Looking back from where you started to where you are now, how does it feel? What's the feeling that comes to mind?
That's a good question. What's the feeling that comes to mind is that I'm still putting in the work, and I've never shied away from hard work. And before I embrace music full on, it's like, this is what it is for me. This is what it's gonna be. This is what it is. Before that point, like, I knew that I'm a hustler and this is my strength. My backbone is that I'll put in the work. I don't care. I'm not, I'm not afraid of work, but I still want it to come easy. I still like things to come easy. And then I guess looking back on like, who am I? I'm someone who just has to work for my wins, and that's what's gotten me here. And the more that I embrace that, the more that I sort of accept that, the harder I'm able to push, the faster I'm able to push, the stronger I'm able to move. And on the other side, I still like when things just fall into my lap and happen easy and that sort of thing. But I'm someone who works to achieve what I have. And there's a saying, I've seen it floating around Instagram, that like, just because I carry it good don't mean it ain't heavy, right? And I think that's very real for me, because if you look at me on Instagram, or even if you see me in the streets, I look super polished, and it looks like, yo, the shit's going well for him, and it is, but it's the result of just busting my ass. So what's next for me is the completion of what I came here to do. It's the hit that goes sort of beyond the South, beyond where I've already sort of made a name for myself, where I've already got something going on. And it involves bringing in more firepower. So other than Telemundo, I've never really, not cared about the internet, but I've never really worked the internet, right? But that's really what it is. Atlanta is sort of an anomaly in that the streets still matter. And Atlanta is an anomaly in that you can work your way to success, meaning in the rest of music, we're talking about the internet, right? In the rest of the music, we're talking about Spotify playlists and TikTok and Instagram and all that shit that, like, I think inherently, is kind of lame to be chasing that shit, right? But it's also business. It's also, that is what it is. So that's just the game. And if you only care about the streets, then shit, like, you know, like salute the rappers that just eat off the chitlin circuit. Like, you know, I remember hearing Money Man was getting like 30, 40 a show. And I don't think in Toronto anyone knows who Money Man is, right? And I love hearing that shit. But, you know, like, I know that my ultimate potential, like where I'm headed, is broader. So now it's like, that's the work that remains. And now those pieces have come into my life. So that's the internet, it's the industry. I was just in New York, and you mentioned Fashion Week. It was sort of happened serendipitously that I was there, and it happened to be Fashion Week because I was actually there, sort of, you know, meeting with the labels to hear them out. So now we work that, and we have the internet, and we have the industry, and we have me in the streets here continuing to do what I've been doing, and what I did with Just Text, but now really bringing in the firepower to make it go all the way. So that's what's coming up. That's what 2020 is all about. I think something for you to have as you move forward in whatever it is you do is that if you can find the lane in life where you're doing what you love, you're doing something that drives you, you're doing something that you're passionate about, it's a whole different game. It's a whole different life that you're living, because even the work, even the lows, even the pain is for the reason that is inspirational to you. It's what you want to do, and it gives you that perspective that, hey, the better days are coming, and this thing is worth it, and the normal day feels good. So, you know, being a star or even following your dreams might not be for everyone, because some people might just be built for, you know, a 9 to 5 or going to school or whatever it is. But whatever it is you do, if it is pursuing your dream, if your dream is something that's more easily attainable, then that's a blessing for you, because you can, you know, attain it more easily. But whatever it is, like finding the lane, finding the work that does make you feel good, it's a game changer. You're playing a whole different game of life. And, you know, with everything that I have, I would say, like, do that. Find the thing that makes you genuinely feel joy, and, you know, and treat other people the right way all day, and you're gonna end up in a place that is better than you could fathom when you were a kid in school, just going through the motions. And maybe even better than you can fathom for you today when you're living your life and just going about shit. And, you know, it's like there's a lot more to look forward to than the tax return and seeing some titties in the strip club, and that shit is dope. But you can have that all the time when you find a lane for you that really speaks to you. So that's what I have to say to my people and everyone out there.